Good morning, Year 5. So, welcome to this week's writing videos. Now, we are moving on to diary writing, so don't worry if you've not finished your Isaac Newton biography. You can complete that in the afternoons if you wish to, as long as you get your whole thing written for me, just like we would do at school, okay? Now, well done to those people that have done that already and are ready for this week's diary entries. You need to make sure you are accessing our reading videos as well, because our diary writing is going to link to our books. We're writing from the point of view of one of our characters, so you need to keep in touch with the book so that you know exactly what we are writing about. So we're looking at feature spotting today. It's going to be a little bit different because obviously we don't have the printouts and the colours that we normally do at school. So we are going to do it a little bit differently whilst we're at home. So before we start, if you jot down any features that you can remember when we do diary writing, I'd be really impressed if you can remember any. And when you post your work onto Dojo, I'll be able to see if you've written any at this point of the video. Okay? So when you're writing a diary entry, you are writing it about a day in the life of a real person or a character. The diary entry needs to sound as if the person or character has written it, so it needs to be written from their point of view. And it also needs to be exciting and interesting to read as well. Okay, so that's just a little background for our diary writing. So here I have a extract from Little Red Riding Hood. Okay, I'm sure we all know the story of Little Red Riding Hood. So this is a diary from her point of view. Okay, dearest diary. Oh my goodness, I have never been so frightened in all my life. Yesterday, I was actually eaten by a wolf. That's right, eaten. And I lived to tell the tale. Can you believe it? Me, Red, or Little Red, as everyone seems to say. It all started when Mother sent me yet on another one of her errands. Don't get me wrong, I do love to visit Granny, but is it really necessary to take baskets of food all the time? She couldn't get through the basket full of cupcakes, even if she was having daily dinner parties with the whole village. And I do wish that Mother wouldn't pester me so. No dilly-dallying, keep to the path, and never talk to strangers, do you hear me? Pester, pester, pester. Anyway, off I skipped into the beautiful sunshine, down the path to the lane and through the forest, waving to the old woodcutter as I went. It was such a lovely day. Animals were scampering around on the ground, and birds were chirping in the trees. I got quite carried away until I heard a silky sounding voice from the shadows. I knew right away that this was one of the wolves that Mother had warned me about. He was a very fine looking gentleman with thick hair, bright eyes, and very big white teeth. He claimed that he knew Granny, and I'm ashamed to say that I believed him, diary. He must have been very, very clever, but even now I can't figure out how he knew where Granny lived. I was oh so hungry, diary, and the cunning wolf convinced me to stop for a snack. I mean, my stomach was really, really gurgling. I really didn't stray from the path for long, and of course I thought it was perfectly safe. How wrong was I? I arrived at Granny's cottage without a care in the world, but then when I walked through the door my heart sank. Granny was sick. I could hardly see anything of her, so I leaned in close, and when I did, oh, diary, you wouldn't believe her eyes. Large and yellow. I was sure that she was deathly ill. When one long ear popped out from under her nightcap, I thought that I should surely call for the doctor at once. But all that was nothing, diary, compared to what I saw next. As she spoke to me, Granny's quilt slipped down to reveal a muzzle with long, sharp teeth. I thought that the bottom had dropped out of my stomach, and I began to shake so violently. I said the first thing that came to me. Oh, Granny, what big teeth you have! So here are our features, okay? We've got first person, past tense, describing words, direct speech, chatty language, description of thoughts and feelings, time adverbials, and addressing the diary directly, okay? Here are some examples that are not in the text, but it's just to help you when you come to feature spotting. So I've got the I, which is our first person, so that is what we should be looking for. Past tense, ed words, and things that show our event happened in the past. So the word saw would show that it happened in the past. Describing words, I've got long, rickety road. So we've got the 2 words describing the road there. I've not just said I strolled down the road. Our inverted commas, okay, to show the direct speech. Chatty language, so unlike our biographies, which was written formally, this is informal language or chatty language. Describing thoughts and feelings, so we've got worries, which is a thought, and happy, a feeling, okay. Time adverbials, now you should remember these from when we did time connectives, they're exactly the same things. Time conjunctions, whichever you want to call them. So we've got yesterday, early this morning, and after a while. And then directly addressing the diary. So we've got you will never guess what diary, so it's actually mentioning the diary. So if we go back to the beginning, I've already highlighted one for the first person. So we've got I, me, I, and I. We don't need to highlight them all, don't need to write them all in either, because that will take absolutely ages. What I'd like is to see just a couple of examples, okay? So I've highlighted the first one that I'm going to use for my evidence in the text. So again, if I go back for you to the examples in the text, this is how we're going to feature spot, okay? So when you've drawn this table for me, you are going to feature spot from the Little Red Riding Hood diary. So if you grab a pencil, pen and ruler, if you don't have a pen or you don't have a pencil, you can draw it either way. I'm pretty sure there should be rulers in your packs, okay? Now, what I want you to do is pop the examples in to show you have been feature spotting. So as I said, the first one I have got, if we get rid of that one now, is I have found I've never been so frightened in all of my life. That is the first person example in the text we have just read, okay? So you guys are now going to use these 3 pages of the diary, so you can skip back in the video, to find past tense, describing words, direct speech, chatty language, describing thoughts and feelings, time adverbials, and addressing the diary directly, okay? I'm going to say 1 or 2 examples if you pop them in. 1 is fine. If you find 2, that's absolutely brilliant. Most of them will have 2, okay? If you do pop in 2, that again, that is fantastic. But if you only find the 1, just make sure you've got something as an example from the text. If you take a picture of your grid once you've completed it and upload that onto Dojo for me so I can see your fab feature spotting skills. All right? And just to finish, to make sure any of us have got any of these, so here are the features of diary writing. So we've got writing in first person, informal or chatty language, describing thoughts and feelings, past tense, inverted commas, adverbials of time, directing the diary directly, and ambitious describing words. So we've covered those in our feature spotting grid, okay? As I said, make sure you fill it all in and pop it on Dojo for me.